If you don't know, maybe you don't live in the U.S., maybe you've been hiding under a rock somewhere. The Republican commentator Charlie Kirk, very popular figure in American politics, loved by many, hated by many as well, depending on which side of the aisle you're on. He was assassinated yesterday by a shooter that shot, from what I understand, I guess the news is reporting a 30 caliber bolt action rifle and hit him in the neck, and he bled out and died in the hospital uh, not too long after that. And if you've seen the footage, I don't recommend you looking this up, but if you've seen the footage of the shot, you understand that it would have taken a true miracle for him to survive that, and that wasn't in the Lord's will, at least at this time. So, what does that have to do with at least the news today? Besides my own personal opinions and feelings on it. So we've been covering Ghost of Yotei for a while now, and I've been kind of on the fence about whether I was going to play it or not. For some reason, I just wasn't getting too hyped about it, even though I did love Ghost of Tsushima. But the news coming out after the incident, you know that there are, at least if you've been following American politics, or if you've been online at all, really on Twitter or whatnot, you know that there are a whole sect of disgusting human beings, there's no other way to put it, that are celebrating the death of this man. He was 31 years old. He has 2 daughters and a wife that are now left behind. And some of the people that are doing the celebrating are the senior developer at Sucker Punch, which is the studio that is developing Ghost of Yotei, which, like I said, we've been covering quite a bit of leading up to the release in sometime in October. And so the main reason I'm bringing this up, at least tonight, is to let everybody know I talked about playing this game. I don't think I am. I don't plan on playing Ghost of Yotei. I was on the fence about playing it anyway, and this just makes the decision a lot easier for me. I don't really want to support people who would stoop to that kind of level, especially because, and I'll be honest with you guys, this is hit me a little differently than I ever would have thought it would. I typically am not a very emotional person. You can ask my wife. I don't feel much most of the time. But he has 2 daughters that are close to the same age as my daughters are. I have kids around that same age. He's 3 years younger than me, and when something like that happens to someone like that, who, in my view, was doing nothing wrong at all. In fact, I would argue that he was fighting for the greater good, and he was having an open dialogue, which is exactly what people need to have to make progress. And he worked very hard at that. And he was a Christian guy. And so when something happens like that, and it hits different when you're a father, when you are a father yourself, because you can understand the horror that the people who you love would go through in a situation like that. Now, keep in mind, his kids and his wife were in the crowd watching, which is just a whole nother level of deplorable, awful, horrendous. It's a horrendous thing to think about. And so having kids of my own around that same age, being around his same age, it wasn't easy to get on the stream tonight and, try to have fun. It's been kind of upsetting, really, just thinking about what his family's going through. And you can't help but imagine and put yourself in those shoes, to imagine what it would be like if that was you. Especially since, I align with a lot of what Charlie Kirk believed in. And so it's for lack of a better term, it hit closer to home than I thought it would. And I'll say this, that although it's very sad, and I've been sad about it, and even angry at points, just at the state of the country we live in and the divisiveness of the people around us. Charlie Kirk is actually he got the best part of this. Okay, I believe that he went on to be with the Lord in heaven, and who I'm sad for are his family left behind. That's who I'm sad for. I'm sad for his wife. I'm sad for his kids, because I can see my daughters, and they flash through my mind as if that was me, and what they would have to go through, and what my wife would have to go through if that was, me instead of him. And so, I mean, the long and short of it is I don't think we're going to be playing Ghost of Yotei. And I would encourage, unless Sucker Punch comes out and just gets rid of these people and denounces their behavior and, turns the other way, at that point, maybe there's something there to it. But I don't plan on playing it, and I would encourage those of you who may be considering it to think about it yourself. I'm not going to demonize anybody if they decide to go ahead and play the game. I don't think that's right. If you want to play the game and you want to have fun with it, at the end of the day, that's your decision. I'm going to decide not to. And it was a very sad thing that happened to Charlie, and we're praying for his family. We prayed for his family last night. And I hope that good comes out of this. I hope that we move forward as a country and as a people and as a culture, instead of backwards into more hate and violence and all the crazy things that could happen as a result of this. Oftentimes martyrs end up, the people who kill people in the name of stopping a movement oftentimes fuel that movement even further than if they would have just let them live. And that is more than likely going to be the case with Charlie Kirk. So it wasn't even a smart decision for whoever the deranged lunatic was. From what I understand, he's still at large. They haven't even caught him yet. They did find like his gun and stuff in the woods somewhere, but they don't know who it is. They haven't found him yet. But whoever this person was, he's obviously a very sick individual, pure evil, as I would put it. He didn't even, assuming it's a he, this person didn't even do a very smart thing to further the cause that he was, or it was, proposing to try and further. Oftentimes the path the saying is true, the path you take to avoid something often leads you to it. And that will more than likely happen. I just hope that the direction forward is one that makes everything better and not one that makes everything worse, because it could easily go that direction as well. So, and I would also encourage everybody, I just want to say this. No matter what side of the political aisle you're on, it's easy to point fingers and hate the people on the other side who may believe certain things, even the disgusting people that are celebrating this. I think it's important we all take a step back and realize who the actual enemy in this circumstance is. It's not necessarily the person on Twitter who's celebrating his death, although it very well could be. But most of the time, I would argue that's not true. I think that the truth is that the people who are preaching this doctrine of you have to, affirm a person's identity or its violence against them, you have to You're literally killing people if you don't, go along with what they believe is true, because then, they're going to unalive themselves. The people who are pushing this, the mainstream media, the politicians, the people who are leading people this direction, those are the real enemies. Because to a lot of the people who are celebrating this, the problem is not that they may be this disgustingly awful person, which some of them definitely are. A lot of them truly believe that he was like the second coming of Hitler. And if we were alive in that time when Hitler was, there, and Hitler was killed, we would probably celebrate too. There are a lot of misled people who've been lied to, and they are terribly mistaken about a lot of things. Charlie Kirk was a family man, a godly man, a good man, and he was fighting for a lot of really good things that needed somebody to fight for them. But that's not who they believe he is. So I just want to say, before you sling hate at somebody, maybe take a second and ask yourself how they became what they are. And a lot of times the answer to that question is not them. A lot of times the answer to that question are the bad actors in society that are purposely creating this stuff, because it profits them politically to have an issue to run on, to have people hating each other, because that gets them votes. Those people are the enemies. Those people are the ones that are causing this. A good majority of it, anyway.